could have given up, but you didn't. You could have stopped believing, but you didn't. You could have kept living their expectations, but you decided to make this life your own. And in turn, you're here. Hello, everyone. Today we're meeting Andre Paradis. He is a speaker, an author, a relationship and NLP coach. Hello, Andre. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Anna. You're in New York City. I'm in Los Angeles. Both extremes. Let's have some fun.
Let's have fun. And let's start our conversation by diving into your personal journey of becoming the person you are today. What led you to discover your true passion in life? How did it start for you?
Oh my God, that's I want to try to make it a short story because it's not a short story, just because there's different folds. But in a nutshell, I was born in Canada. I was born in a family of 5 kids. I'm number 4, and I discovered, this is just really strange, I can't explain that to you, but at the age of 5, when my thinking kind of connected with my feelings, right? Because before that you're just reactive. So when I could manage to understand what was happening in my life, per what I could feel when these two come together, I realized at the age of 5 that I somehow was born in the wrong family. These are not my people. They don't like me. I don't fit in here. I don't belong here. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Very strange. Very strange. It's very scary as a 5-year-old. And then for the moment on, I kind of felt like I was going to have to take care of myself, raise myself, just manage myself. Like I was on my own. Like these people, I didn't fit in here. So how is that possible, right? It's so strange. But that became what happened in that moment, is like my awareness became like my radar really turned outward and started watching the world. I started watching people, and I started to understand how that's possible. Like, how is that possible? How can you be wrong? How can you be born in the wrong family? Like, but it was palatable. It was factual. Like, this is really what it was. So I watched everyone. I watched the world. I was the kid that was in the corner watching everyone all the time. I was the awkward kid, shy. I always had a friend. So I was I wasn't a complete weirdo, but I was definitely on the outside watching. With that, I became fascinated with the human condition. Fascinated. Like, how does somebody turn on like this? How does somebody turn on like this? Why is this guy cool? He's got swag. All the girls like him. This guy, like me, doesn't fit in. Watching people, watching adults, watching kids, so I became really highly attuned in people energy just from doing that. Like, I can now pick people's energy up just looking at them. It's like that radar is so that's interesting, and that's become a very good big part of my work as a coach. I could sense what's happening with you without you saying it. It's weird, but it works. It's just we all have the ability, by the way. Anyway, so that's how it started. Second phase, I went to a private high school and I ended up being asked by a young woman to join her as a partner for ballroom dancing for physical education. Never danced a day in my life. I'm 16 years old. I'm the awkward kid, right? So she asked me, she goes, please, because we have to join as a couple. Would you want to dance with me? I'm like, oh my God, she's this big, right? Cute. Like, well, yeah, duh. So a week later, when we started class, this was a funny discovery and kind of magical, a gift of God, that I remember holding her in my arms, the teacher on my right. And as he started teaching us, I think the first thing we learned was a cha-cha. Everything he did, I could just do it. Like instantly copy it. Like I could just do it. It's like it's almost like I already knew this. I just was being reminded. Okay, this is a surprise. Now the kid who's awkward, shy, invisible, had no talent seemingly, right? Just watching people. All of a sudden, I have this ability, like crazy ability. And so within a period of 4 months, I go from invisible dork to the star of the class, right? Like now assisted the teacher. All the girls want to dance with me. I'm no longer invisible. I'm like, so complete turnaround in circumstances. And it's the only thing I wanted to do. I was a miserable kid. And you understand that when you put music, the vibrations of music, and you connect them to the vibration of your body, right? When they come together, it moves your soul. It just moves your spirit, it lifts your spirit. There's an energy to that, right? Like singers are very aware of this. You've seen singers on stage hit that note and they start crying. Like there's a vibrational that's godly when you blend them together. So I think I smiled the first time in my life in that class, and that's all I wanted to. It lifted my, it gave me the will to live. Honestly, it just inspired me to like just stay alive. Anyway, so I kept dancing. I kept dancing, and decided that was going to be my life's path. I was going to dance because that's all I wanted to do. I didn't care about anything else. Fast forward, I made my way out of Canada all the way to Los Angeles. I became a professional. This was ballroom dancing, but I became a professional jazz dancer, like commercial jazz dancer, music videos, television commercials, all that stuff. What you see on TV. I ended up working. I was blessed. I never paid for my training. I kept getting a scholarship after scholarship after scholarship, which is really bizarre. I just went with it. It was, and I made it all the way to Michael Jackson. I worked with Michael Jackson. I worked with Prince. I worked with Paul Abdul. I worked with Julio Iglesias. I traveled the world. I traveled the world, danced, performed, taught, produce a show in Thailand. I was in Thailand for 4 months, producing for the pop star like our Janet Jackson at the time. There, I produced a concert and choreographed the whole thing. And crazy life, amazing life, dancing, right? And to my parents' dismay, how are you going to make money at this? I made it all the way to the 1% who make a living at their art. Okay, fantastic. But my life was always also about understanding life, understanding people, understanding me. So since the age of 23, I was always into personal development, workshops, money workshops, business workshop, get your life together workshop, whatever, like what's wrong with me workshop, like all the stuff that I didn't know because I was curious about. I wanted everything. And so I had to go fight for it. My friends used to think it was really strange because they want to go to the beach, and I go, no, I'm in a workshop this weekend. And they were like, the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, you just go on the beach. I'll be learning some stuff. Anyway, 2006, I'm in Los Angeles. I actually flew to Northern California for a business workshop. I had a different business at the time. And in that workshop, 3-day workshop, I met this couple. So on the flight back to Los Angeles, we're sitting in the same row, which I thought was random. Not so much. Changed my whole life. The lady says to me, what do you do next weekend? And I go, I'm free next weekend. I'm not working. She goes, do you want to come to a workshop? It's on me. I'm like, of course. I'm the workshop head. Because these things can be expensive. I spend a lot of money on these events, right? So it's on me, she says. So I'm like, of course. And then I go, what's the workshop? She says, oh, it's called Understanding Women.
Wow.
Okay, right? Is there such a thing as understanding women? Was my first thought. Now, at the time I was married, my wife's a ballerina. We met when I was dancing, teaching, and we have 2 little kids, like a toddler and a 4-year-old. So, and we're doing fine. I'm not looking for this stuff. I'm really just not. We're doing great. But I said I was going to go, so I went, and in that workshop, I think I fell off. I slipped off my chair, I think 7 times. Wow. I realized I knew nothing about women, not even a little bit. And as an artist, right, as a guy who's had an ease with that, not a thing. It blew my mind. But the scariest thing is not only did I know nothing about women, I realized that meant I know nothing about my wife. Now, my brothers and sisters all married and divorced 3 times, 4 times, right? I have my angel, I have my girl, I have my wife. I'm like, this is my baby. I'm not going to mess this up, not knowing. Just by, you know what I mean? That's my brain again. Oh, got to know everything. So the idea that I could actually mess us up just because I didn't know was insane. So, of course, Mr. Workshop, I jumped in the company's curriculum. I took all their workshops. And then I started assisting all their workshops just to integrate the work and the knowledge. And next thing you know, I'm a workshop leader for the company because I'm a teacher, right? So it's just kind of natural flow. And that was the beginning of this career of mine after dancing, where I, just for the sake of us, I want us to be okay, but it became literally an avalanche of, I chased that like like I was so curious. It was so fast. There's so many layers, right? Relationship dynamics, men, women, chemistry, anthropology, like, you know, the psychology of it, right, the communication part of it. I just went crazy. So next, you know, I work with masters, 5 masters in the field. The people that under which I train: Esther Perel, Dr. Pat Allen, Shanti Felhan. Dr. Pat Allen in Los Angeles. She's a marriage, family, child therapist for 48 years. I sat with her for 3.5 years, literally like side by side, taught me everything that she learned in 40. It was crazy stuff. It was amazing. So that's my brain. And so what happened is, organically, people started asking me questions. People always, you know, so that was the beginning of my business. 2009, I created Project Equinox. And I'm now full-time. This is not a hobby. This is my business. This is my life. This is how I pay my mortgage and the cars. It's being a relationship coach. And I coach men and women into how to build healthy, loving, long-term relationships. By the way, it's not a gender thing, because it's the same thing with men, women, women. So it's universal how it works. It's fascinating. It's all based in nature and science, chemistry and psychology as well. But in itself, it's incredibly, when you decode the thing, it's very easy to fix. It's very easy to manage. It's very easy to do, except what's in our culture is actually making it much more difficult, and it's very confusing. So anyway, that's how I got to be here.
Wow.
Sorry, long story.
That's beautiful. Your journey of becoming the person that you are today took you on a different stages of your life. It all started with this professional dancing career, and I think that was like the awakening of your soul, and you started feeling alive, and you went for what really you love doing, right? And eventually you discovered something bigger, something that will serve other people as well. And with your knowledge, expertise, skills, you could now make a living doing something you love. And a lot of people, you know, struggling to find that type of passion. And also, you mentioned how many divorces we have, right? In our days, it's just incredible. I don't know what even the percentage is, but a lot of times we find ourselves in the beginning of relationship, everything is beautiful, and we just like on a 7th cloud, you know, connecting, bonding, and all of a sudden, you know, something is going south, something is going bad, and we trying to like kind of like defend ourselves, defend our needs, and we always feel not understood by the other party involved. And again, like every situation is different, but in the end, I feel the reason for breaking up, for divorcing, is mostly the lack of communication. And I feel it's just the foundation of really understanding your partner, understanding the needs of your partner, and talking about what is it that you are looking for, what is it that how you feeling, right? We're not really like we don't accept as a priority to really mention our mental well-being, our like feelings and emotions. We don't open up on a regular basis. We feel like another person maybe judges or don't understand what we're going through. But especially if that's a person which is very close to you, your partner, I think it's essential to share that. I think this is what comes to being like vulnerable, right? Like
Amen.
this vulnerability, a lot of people look at it as a weakness, right? I don't expose myself to the point where, what if I'm gonna be judged? What if, like, we have this scenario in our mind that we're not gonna be accepted? And that's very I think it's counterintuitive how it should be done. And that's why I want your thoughts on that. What is the foundation of building the
healthy relationship, the communication basis for what is about to come?
Well, the biggest thing in my world is not understanding each other. Again, what's in our culture is equality, right? Equality is everywhere. Equal rights, equal pay, equal opportunity. Of course, that's a no-brainer. But that kind of transgress into the thinking that men and women should be the same. For a man to be a good man, he has to be sweet, sensitive, talkative, vulnerable. That's not a man. That's a girl, right? That's your girlfriend. So the idea that men have to be that to be valuable, to be good men, right? To not be toxic. That's crap. That's not it at all. Because a man who's like this actually lacks masculinity and lacks an ability to sort of self-correct, first of all, but also to manage his emotion and do the right thing, regardless how he feels, right? The masculine paradigm is a fantastic guideline into what it's not masculinity that's toxic, it's men without masculinity that are toxic because they can't control their emotions, which is when masculine is naturally. So to ask of men to act like more like women in the name of this is going to be better, less dangerous, is the exact opposite. The dangerous ones are the feminine ones, the ones who can't control their emotions, the ones who don't have power. So they lean in and are very destructive because masculinity protects women, children, anything that's weak, right? Instinctively, naturally. So the idea of softening men for the sake of protection is safer for women. It's the exact opposite. So that's a very dangerous thinking, right? When you shame men out of their masculinity, they don't become safer; they become more toxic. So that's a problem in our culture. And what happens on the other side? We decide that women need to be strong, independent, and powerful at all costs. Act like men more than like women. So we flip the script. We flip the script completely on people. And that doesn't work because, again, there's a cost, there's a price to pay when you get everything I teach, by the way, everything I talk about is based in nature and science and psychology. It's not my opinion. It's just the work. It's what works best. So when women are masculine, they actually are not able to create healthy bond with masculine men because they're fighting, right? So this is a lot of what happens in our culture. Men are shamed out of being masculine. Women are made masculine. And then we think, again, the idea of equality in that, equalize the playing field. It's okay for money, honestly. For money in business, it works. But in the realm of love, it's a kiss of death. It's absolute kiss of death. So it doesn't work. So we have to reframe what works better. Again, nature, masculine and feminine dance, right? My entire life, like as I explained, I come from a background of dancing. So if you look behind me, this is my wife and I, ballroom dancing. Right. So this is what I teach, right? This is partnership. This is men and women coming together. Men, women, women. It's all the same thing, but this is partnership. This has to be learned. Just like a ballroom couple, like this doesn't just happen, right? Like you don't get on the dance floor and look at each other and go, "Let's ballroom dance." Like, well, somebody has to teach you, right? like somebody has to teach you, like, which is your part, which is my part. How do we come together organically? Because this, if you've seen a ballroom couple slide and glide across the floor, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, right? The two people who independently or their own people come together to create the new entity called the couple. So it's two becoming one. That requires a lot of timing, learning, you know what I mean? Movement, communication that isn't even verbal, communication with the fingers and the hands. This is my whole life. A ballroom couple, right? A ballroom couple, when they're gliding across the floor, they're not talking, but there's a dance, literally. So relationships are a dance. Life, everything in life, every relationship you have with people, men and women, is a dance. There's a yin yang, there's an exchange. So how do you dance in the world as a businesswoman, as a friend, as a family member, as a wife? How do you dance with your husband? And there's a way, if you're going to be the masculine, but he's the masculine, you're not dancing anymore. You're colliding, you're fighting. If he's too feminine and you're feminine, nothing's happening. You just look at each other. There's no dance. So we need what nature calls the yin yang, the masculine and feminine, right? The polarity is essential for the magnets to come together, create this new buzz that is called a dance. So this has to be learned, right? Well, ballroom dancers train for 5, 6, 7, 10 years to glide the way they do. Same thing in relationships. We think we should just be able to do this, but What it requires has to be learned. What it requires has to be learned, has to be practiced. In the beginning, it's awkward, which we step on each other's toes, we bang our knees together, we bump heads, right? Like all that, just like a relationship. Like, you know, and how do you communicate? How do you negotiate? How do you talk about vulnerability, right? Like when I dance with my wife, she has to be vulnerable to my leadership.
Mhm.
And I have to earn that vulnerability. So she has to trust, the same as relationship, she has to trust that I'm not going to hurt her. Because actually, I could overdrive her, I could oversteer her, I could like over lead her, I could crank her shoulder, right? I could hurt her if
Yeah.
I'm too much of a bully. So this is not a dictatorship, it's respectful, you know, a sensitive leadership for her to be comfortable that I'm not going to get, she's not going to get hurt, she's not going to get spun into a wall or a table or another couple, that she could actually let go in my
Mhm.
arms, right? Be vulnerable to my leadership, right? That she can relax into that, you know. By the way, she's not passive. She's doing everything I'm doing backwards in high heels and a dress. It's not, she's not passive, right?
Mhm.
But we're complementary. We come together. She holds her frame in order to hear my communication, and together off we go. And I take the lead. I love taking the lead, and the masculine, you know, I'm the masculine energy. I love taking the lead and taking her on an adventure on the dance floor. She gets to let go, trusting that she's not going to get hurt. Just like a relationship, that I know what I'm doing, that I got it, right? And that she shines feminine energy, right? She radiates, she gets to smile, she gets to squeal a little bit. I still make my wife squeal because I surprise her, right? And the point is, by the way, energetically, it's a beautiful, like nobody's looking at me. They're all looking at her because she's happy, smiling, shiny, feminine, radiant, blah, 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 blah. That's a relationship. That's what I teach. So the metaphors are fantastic. Woo.
Oh, for me, it's not just a metaphor. I've been dancing tango for the last like
Ah,
now, and
you understand?
yeah, when I'm dancing with the advanced leader, the man is know what he's doing. I can just relax into the dance and just let it go and be really like in a different dimension. I would say I'll just feel ecstatic. I would
Yep.
just feel this energy that you forget about everything,
Yep.
no worries, you just like elated, and that's beautiful. And that exchange of energy and the dynamic, I think we can see that in relationship, the healthy relationship, when women learn how to really trust and let go, and knowing that a strong masculine presence is there, and they can now be in their feminine energy. But a lot of I feel like men, they don't create that environment for women to open up, to be vulnerable, to trust them really. And I think it's what you just mentioned, that they can control their emotions in a way that they stable, they grounded, they unshakable. So because women feel that
Oh yeah. Oh
change of
yeah. Oh
energy,
yeah.
and now they protect themselves, and they like you know they kind of create that wall, that boundary, and I don't know if they're like, I don't know, advice, or like how can men find their masculine or like practice something that they could be more in control of their emotions, and to really like make women feel more protected.
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. I do a lot of men's work as well. I do mentoring work with men only. For that exact reason, men don't know how to be anymore. They don't want to be toxic. They don't want to be scary. They don't want to be everything that the culture says. Men are dangerous. They're cheaters. They're toxic. Masculinity. What the hell? What the hell? Right. So this is the problem. Men don't know what to be. They don't want to be that. Most of us are good guys, but they don't know how to operate. They've been shamed out of being masculine. So the rehabilitation of men in this culture of shut up and don't be a man is ridiculous. So to rehabilitate them, basically, we help them, encourage them to step into their fear, step into their lives, step into the build something, push something, discipline themselves in something that is difficult, to build their character, to build a business, to build a world, to build the life, to build whatever the hell they want to build. But it has to be something hard and challenging, because It's only in things that are easy coming, nobody appreciates, right? When stuff is too easy, so men have to challenge themselves and become something that they can attain a sense of self-respect, that they push through, that they discipline themselves, they build their character, which builds their confidence, and now they're capable in producing results in the world. These are the men who want wives and kids, because they're at cause of their own lives. So the work that we do is help men step back and to be masculine and not being afraid and to be toxic, and so they've learned to not lean in and to be masculine. So they go with women, and they go out with women that say, so where do you want to go for dinner? So where do you want to go? What time do you want to go? Right? They're putting women in the masculine energy by asking what they want, as opposed to making a plan, right? And asserting themselves, and they go, let's do this. How do you feel about my plan? So that way the woman can adjust. And that's how you lean in. So men, we teach men to step back into their masculine, as opposed to being afraid of it or shamed out of it, and be the container, be the strength, be the solid rock for women that makes women feel safe and relaxed into the feminine. So when a man is a man and is masculine and is authentic, healthy, grounded masculine, women automatically slip into their feminine. And all of a sudden, there's nothing to manage from her side, because he got it, right? She feels safe, just like in the dance. She could let go. You could take her where, in a little adventure, on a date, on a journey, and then she gets to relax into her feminine, where she's the most comfortable. There's nothing to manage. There's nothing to think. There's nothing to do. She could just be a girl. She could just be feminine. But again, in our culture, women are afraid. Because of everything they're talking about, men and masculinity, women are afraid of men. Women are afraid of being controlled. Women are afraid of, getting caught up, being dumped. They're afraid of falling in love. They're afraid of getting their heart broken. They're afraid. If you don't trust man, if you don't know how to be vulnerable, back to this, and take the risk and get to find out if he's a good guy, right? If you're too guarded, you can't let go, you can't relax, there will be no relationship. It will be this, like I call it, instead of ballroom dancing, it'll be like club dancing. You'll be side by side, facing each other, never really going into, truly committed or taking a chance. And then in the end, basically, everybody's waiting for the other one to see how long this is going to last. And then we split off, right? We live together. We don't get married. We don't do, we don't mix bank accounts. We just stay independent within the idea of a relationship. But that doesn't create anything but you turn around in a dance or in a club and you're dancing with somebody else. You know what I mean? This is not building anything. This is not, and this, and everyone knows this, everything that's worth anything has a lot of risk involved. Every businessman knows this. You take some big risk, it could break us, or we can become millionaires, right? Like, you have to be willing to take the risk in order to get the rewards. But people are so afraid, women are afraid of men, because blah, 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 everything the culture says. And it's ridiculous. It's crap. And if you make half the planet dangerous, how is any of this going to work?
Right.
Period. So we have to reframe this whole thing. And men are not dangerous. Masculinity is not toxic. Men naturally have and men instinctively want to provide, protect, cherish, and give to women.
Mm-hmm.
This is instinct, right? Women need to be protected, provided for, feeling safe,
Yes.
This should work, right? This should work, but you can't make each other wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So when you keep men make wrong for who they are, they don't show up. You don't see them, and you never feel safe. And sure enough, it's scary out there. It's really scary because nobody's coming to protect you, right? So, we have to reframe this whole thing. This is not working. This is actually destroying everything, destroying relationships, which is destroying families. And just, when families fall apart, children aren't able to create healthy bonds as adults, which means they can't have healthy relationships. And then ultimately it destroys society and culture in the world. So this whole thing is destroying culture. My job is to undo this. with the help of God and you and the disruptors who like allow me to speak this stuff. And you, I'm sure you have the same viewpoints in a lot of ways. Like, wake the people up. There is a way to do this. There is hope. It is doable, right? It's not hopeless. Not at all. It's all very easy with my clients on the other side of the program. They're like, oh my God, I get it. It's so easy. Just nobody taught us. I go, I know, it's not your fault. But there's a way you could learn all this. It's like, anyway, sorry, I could go on and on.
No, it's great to learn because I think there's a lack of knowledge in that area, and that's how we are, like you said, we're not taking risk. We're not even giving ourselves a chance to build a healthy relationship. But I also believe everything starts within ourselves first. If
Absolutely.
we build the relationship with ourselves that is healthy, that is, free of any type of limiting beliefs, right? Because it could also then, you can bring it to the relationship as well. Sometimes we see the abuse or like narcissistic type of partners.
Yep.
A lot of people are afraid of that, afraid of hurting themselves, or they could be the one hurting another person unconsciously, right?
Right.
So it all starts within us, don't you think?
No, I mean, that's the first thing I do with my clients. The first thing, like I always say, I can't get you in a healthy relationship until we clean up your baggage of your past. And it's typically in childhood, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, the formative years between 5 and 11. We all get our ass kicked by life, by our parents, abuse, neglect, abandonment issues. Some people have all three of them. Some people have sexual abuse on top of it. Like, there's incredible things that happens to all of us as little people. And in those moments, we make decisions about people, the world, life, and ourselves. These are broken, right, dynamics, and that becomes what we believe is, right, the vision of the world, right? It's not the reality, it's your reality. We all have our own sense of our reality, the lenses to which we see the world per our upbringing and the injuries of our past. That has to be cleaned up completely before we can even get into healthy things. So if you're a broken feminine, we have to unbrokeate, right? Same with the masculine, broken masculinity, men who are feminized or feminine can't find their mojo, that broken masculinity. So you have to start. So the first thing I do is with NLP work, I clean up your baggage and then get yourself kind of free from the baggage of your past, understanding exactly what it was and how it turned you into being protected or protective of yourself, being afraid of the world, be afraid of a relationship, be afraid of getting hurt because you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not lovable, right? Whatever's in your head. And most of these phrases in our heads we forgot, which is they're just recorded in our subconscious and they drive us. So when your subconscious is driving you and you think you make choices, but you're just repeating what you know, because that's what we do as humans. We don't make choices, we repeat what we know. So if you feel that you're not lovable, guess what? You're going to keep attracting men who will make you feel unlovable. If you think women are toxic and narcissistic and dangerous as a man, like as your mother was, you're going to find women who are narcissistic, dangerous, and disrespectful. And you'll see, and you go, see, they're all the same. See, like each relationship creates the same result. That's you. So that has to be cleaned up, right? So back to the healthy feminine. There's a healthy feminine has a sense of safety within herself, right? She's not so needy of safety that she's literally kind of like magnetizing too much neediness, where there's the hook is nobody could ever feel that need. She has to have it within herself, right? And the same with men in a sense of self, that he can't count on a woman to make him feel complete. Do you know what I mean? Because both of these are injuries. So as a woman, if you could find your center, find your balance with your femininity, a sense of self, and feeling safe in that you're strong and confident on your own, that you're complete and whole, both the yin yang of because we both have masculine and feminine. When you actually have that organically put in place, healthy, same with man, relationships are easy. It's easy to bond with others, right? You'll attract similar, right? You'll detract literally the ones who aren't good for you. It is a whole different reality. And just by cleaning up your work, your side, you'll then are able to create healthy dynamics. I do it every day. It's what I do. Like, something you don't know is also officiate. I'm an ordained minister, so some of my couples, I marry them myself. I did 2 this summer. So like, this is all very simple. It's simple. It's a little bit of work, but in itself is rather simple when you put it all together. When you understand the dance, when you understand the dynamic, when you understand what polarize us together, and how fulfilling it is to let a man bring his part as a woman brings her part, right? What my wife brings to my life is the part that I don't have. What I bring to her life is the part she doesn't have. And together we create a beautiful dance. When you get how that works, it's not hard. There's some learning, there's a learning curve, right? But in itself, it's like, so yeah, the biggest honor in my world, is to marry, work with somebody, like the one that I married in Texas this summer was a masculine woman who had been abused and all this stuff, and she was guarded and could not trust. So she attracted boys, right? Not men, boys who would take from her. She was the man. She attracted girls with penises, right? And was constantly just feeling unsafe and taken advantage of. Dismantled this whole thing, right? And then kind of got herself centered, like I just said, right? We clean up her back. And all from that place, understanding men, understanding how men date, understanding how men behave, understanding how men are motivated, what they do, what we do, what makes a man commit, what makes a man will go on one knee, like all that. You don't know. Nobody knows these things, and men can explain it, right? So she cleaned up, learned, ended up inner feminine, attracting men all of a sudden, right? And so for me, like, to go, I flew to Texas. I never met her face to face because we work on Zoom. But I fly to Texas. I meet her and her fiance, and I'm the one who says, "Do you take this woman? Do you take this man?" Come on, I mean, the ultimate honor. And it's not that hard. It's just nobody knows how to do it. Our culture is not teaching people how to do this. It teaches people how to come apart and blame each other. That has to stop. Oh, I'm sorry. I just went off.
Yeah. I mean, if we also think about that, it's not only for ourselves, but a future generation to come. You want to set an example of what is normal, what is healthy. So this is how children learn, by looking at you. They see, they feel you, they know if you're happy or not without even saying a word. And with you establishing this type of example for your kids, this is how you break generational trauma. So we're talking not only bringing yourself a better quality of life, but also for your children, grandchildren.
I mean, it's generational, seriously. And what's happening right now is destroying the possibility of generational, well-being. I want to say this, there's a lot of statistic on this. I'm a geek. I research everything. So I have statistic all out the nose. But like, this is factual. Both men and women in the world are healthier, live longer, happier, make more money, more creative, lifestyle. Everything is better when they're in a healthy relationship. It's the one thing that drives our lives to the better side. People who are successful, who can't attain love relationships, who can't make that work, feel like failures. It's the number one teller of the quality of your life for both men and women. That's why we're all chasing it. It's natural. It's instinctual. We all want to be in relationships. We're made to be pair bonded. We're made to dance like this. But everything in our culture says, he's wrong and she's wrong, right? And he's got to be like this, and she's got to be like this. And if it's not easy, that's the wrong person. Bullshit. Excuse my French. It's funny because it's interesting because people think as long as it's smooth, this is the right person. That's not even how it works, by the way. It's, it's because we're different. We're way different. Like Mars and Venus is not even close. There's 2 different galaxies.
Right.
So let's start there, right? It's the idea that we're the same and men should be more like a woman. No. Understand the differences. Understand they're made to complement. You know what I mean? That's the magic. But get this, there's going to be conflict. If you get in a relationship with anybody, even at work, right? But if you're going to be in a love dynamic with a man, if you're a woman and vice versa, but even man on man and women on woman, you get involved emotionally with somebody, there'll be conflict, there'll be hurt feelings, there'll be expectations that we don't talk about that aren't met, and we get We do make assumption and we get hurt and we get upset. Right? So that is normal, right? People think that if it has to be no conflict. It's not. It's in the conflict resolution that you create a solid bond. It's when things go wrong, but you can calmly say, you know, babe, when you did this is what happened to me. It made me feel really badly. Is that what you meant? Right? This is when you respectfully can approach somebody. So when that happened, it made me feel like this. I didn't like it. Please help me understand. Right? So when you can approach, when you both have each other's back, when you both are looking to be winning at this relationship, that you approach each other respectfully and know how to bring problems up without fighting, right? This is it's in the problem. It's in the resolution of problems that you kind of get tighter. It's after things have been fixed, after something went bad, and you both manage to work it out and talk it through, and you come to a resolution that you go, oh, because now this person is safe to be in a relationship with, because they know they're on your side. They both want us to win. And so we will find a solution. We will talk about it like adults and not scream and yell and blame each other. We just bring it up and then do. And so it's in every resolution that you get tighter and tighter and tighter. That's the point. So it's not the lack of trouble, is how you manage your troubles and the discussions that are difficult and things that happen. So much so that if you see this, like older couples who have been together 40, 50, 60 years, they're so bonded, they're so intertwined that when one dies, the other one follows, because they're literally missing a part of themselves, right? Like that's all in the creating of the adventure of life and everything that comes with it. It's not because everything is sweet and rosy and, you know, la-di-da. It's there's no real kind of juice there. Do you see what I'm saying? So everything we're taught is opposite of what actually works. Interesting.
Yeah, so we have to question really what is that we're listening to, what kind of messages that we're getting from the different, different type of channels, social media, TV, because
Culture.
there
Culture.
could be some other agenda going on, but we have to know within ourselves what is right. And if we lack knowledge, we have to seek out that knowledge to really educate ourselves and then give ourselves chance to try and build a healthy relationship, knowing how the dynamic works. And again, yes, it involves risk, but again, without us trying, how would we know?
If you don't risk anything, you don't get anything, you know?
Yes.
Period. One of my friends / clients, you know, is local, because most of my clients are not local, but this guy's local. And he watches me. This is like a couple of summers ago. He's watching me with the kids and the wife and my life. And I have everything. I have everything. I'm the most lucky guy. The luckiest. I have everything. Like everything from what I do to whatever, where I live. And he's like, man, I want what you have. I go, yeah. Get ready, dude. Right? Like because I want to say this, right? There's risks in everything. The love that I have for my wife, you know, that brings joy and lifts my spirit and gives me reason to do this work and help people, like, because it provides for my family. But, you know, I'm looking at her car right now, because through the living room window, she's parked in the front. And every time I see her, I sit here, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to anybody, I see her get in her car and leave. Part of me is afraid. See, I'm choking up now. Because, you know, shit happens, life happens, right? Like the love of my life leaves me and I'm not with her. I hope I see her again. I mean, like this, there's a fear that comes with the love, right? There's a fear of the loss. There's a huge amount of like, that's nerve-wracking a little bit, right? But the cost of my love is that's the cost, right? My kids leave to go to work, same thing, right? I hope I see them again. I hope I see them tonight. Like, I'm very afraid of, if anything, I'm very aware of if anything happened, how it would devastate my entire life. You know what I mean? Same with being able to pay for my house and everything else. Like, the more invested you are, the more you have to lose. But I'm telling you, if you don't risk losing, you don't get to live or love or experience abundance. I have everything, and I have a lot to lose at the same time. So, it's much easier to play it small, to play it safe, to not get invested, to not fall in relationships, to not build anything. It's much easier. It's much easier for women. I'm going to say this. It's much easier for women to build, careers than to build relationships.
Yeah.
A career has A, B, C, D, right? You could actually see, but relationships are complicated, so they don't. Right. So they shield themselves from men, they shield from relationships. And then, by the age of 35 plus, they start getting really feeling lonely, miserable, overworked, burnout, unhappy. That's not a good life, right? You have to take the risk. You have to take the risk. You have to take the risk. That's the point. I know it's scary, but there's ways to do this. Come and talk to me. I'll teach you. Like, it's not complicated. But for what it from the outside, looking in, it looks very challenging. But again, there's the tidal wave, I call it the cultural tidal wave, is very hard to go against.
Right.
And what's out there is men are dangerous and toxic. You can't trust them, right? Women know better. And girl, you go girl, boss babe, and don't need no man because they're whatever, right? That's not going to work. All of my clients have fallen into that trap and then realize at 35 plus that they've been sold a lemon, that they're unhappy, that money doesn't work for them, that they're working too hard, they're burning out, right? The statistic again on this, like the statistics, like women are more unhappy now the past 20 years than ever in the recorded history.
Wow.
More unhappy than your mothers, your grandmothers, your great-grandmothers who were supposedly slave of the patriarchy. Like, no, right? Like, this isn't working for anybody, right? Women are hurt, men are lonely, and we don't know how to do this. Well, forget. So I say, forget if you can. It's hard to do, but try to forget the culture, forget the men are toxic, forget what do you want? What is it that you want? Right? Do you want a family and kids? Well, get to work, right? Go find out how that works. Go dig in. Go clean up your stuff first, right? And go find somebody who wants the same thing, right? The idea is really compatibility, is to find somebody who wants the future that you want. Men are still very traditional, right? Men want men who build their lives, build their character, build their business, want women to share that with. They want to leave a legacy with their children. This is traditional. Men haven't changed very much. 30% of men are boys, don't want any of that. Okay, we just have to learn how to avoid these guys. The rest of them do what men do instinctively. So the idea there's no good man who stupid. That's stupid. Like, stop, right? Like 70% of men want to give you what you want. However, again, you have to clean up your stuff, and you have to be willing to trust, willing to take a chance, willing to get your heart, on the line, to discover that. And vice versa. Anyway, I could do this all day long, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy. That's the point. That is the point.
But it's possible. And for all of us, we need to ask ourselves a question of what is it that we want in life and how we see ourselves 10, 20 years from now, right? Are you see yourself lonely, or you want to share that experience with somebody in your life and love somebody, really feel what love is, right? Because sometimes, we think like falling in love could be dangerous, and we need to kind of like break that stigma and really allow ourselves to experience love for what it is and see how we can blossom really in that type of life that we can create for ourselves. But it's all up to you. It's up to all of us to make that decision. Nobody will come and rescue you. First decide, and then you work on yourself and on building that relationship. And also another point that I want to make, that once we, let's say, find our match, right? Once we establish that relationship, it's important to keep it like to water it, to keep it healthy all the time, to appreciate what we have. A lot of people forget about that. They think, okay, I'm good, I have what I have. But then they forget and they focus on work or something else, and everything start dying. easily.
It's interesting because there's a lot of good reason for this, by the way. This is the part that I teach when women take things that men do personally. And obviously, my favorite line that I hear all the time is like, he was romantic and loving and paying attention for the first 3 months. Now that he got me, he stopped doing all that.
Mhm.
Right. So, okay, I understand that completely. However, from a man's perspective, it's different. Now, and there's a reason for that. So, I mean, like, there's a showing you that I'm a good guy, right? I'm going to do all this stuff energetically to show you that I'm a good guy, that I'm a sensitive guy, that I'm blah, blah, whatever. And the same thing, there's 4 phases of building a relationship, by the way. There's like, it takes a whole year to get to know somebody. 3 months is the honeymoon the honeymoon phase, and then it's the imperfect phase, 3 to 6 months, where you get to people finally let go of the mask of I'm perfect, I'm easy, nothing bothers me. You get to know how quirky the person is. 6 to 9 months is when you start negotiating things. I don't like when you do this. I don't like that. This doesn't, and it takes 9 months to figure out if you kind of have a future, by the way. It takes 9 months to figure out if it's a deal breaker. It's very interesting. Like, we're all cyclical. We think we're all it's so predictable. You know what I mean? But for men, after that 3 months, this is typical. It doesn't have to be, you have to understand it and then manage it. It's not right or wrong. It's just is. After 3 months of honeymoon phase and, spending so much time planning and seeing each other's, spending, making love all night long, you know what I mean? And like just sleeping 2 hours and stumbling in your car, with your clothes from yesterday on to go to work, like that cannot last. That cannot last. It's impossible to sustain. So what happened is after 3 months, we go back to normal life. We rebalance, but it was so overcalibrated in the beginning with all the juice and the connection and the lovemaking and the right intentions, right? But it's not sustainable, right? So people go back and women go, look, he used to make plans every 2 days to see me, and now he's life, right? So now it doesn't mean it's okay, but it's a way to keep that going, but it won't be what it was in the honeymoon phase. It's impossible. It's not realistic, but women like want to blah. So again, when you understand how everything morphs, turns, manages, when it comes together differently, how it settles, that a guy who put all that effort to show you his character, that he's a good guy, right? It claims you, and then he has to go to work and to then take care of you, right? So energies goes somewhere else, but for the sake of you, but it doesn't. So, if you have to look at it that way, and if he goes too far, you go, babe, if we could like, find some times to get together, maybe once a week at least, because I'm feeling disconnected here. You're my man, you're my hero, but like if you work too much, like I feel abandoned. What? But I'm doing it for us. I know. And then again, the negotiation, right? I don't feel, how do you respectfully ask for negotiate your wants and needs, both men and women, so that the thing keeps going, and as opposed to taking things personally, getting mad, getting frustrated, assuming his actions or her actions means something else, because we're not asking or talking about it, we get frustrated. This is how things come undone. No, right? But you have to also decode, what we're attached to. Like the way men do things is all based in survival, especially when he has a wife and kids, right? So his survival instinct will have him just out there pushing, leaning, right? Often women feel neglected, children feel neglected. He's always working, but it's a compulsion. You could talk about it. We could adjust it. We could dance with it, right? Women want to be connected, feel safe, you know what I mean? But men are internally motivated. Often our actions look selfish, even though it's for us, right? How do we adjust? So it's the decoding of how we operate, what we expect, what we want, what we need, and right, and kind of negotiate I know you're amazing, but like I feel abandoned. Oh, what I know, but I feel abandoned. Can we adjust a little bit? Oh, should I? And then he wants to provide that for you, because if you know how to approach a man respectfully, he instinctively wants to do it, because instinct has this wanting to fix and provide the repairs and be your heroes. This is all nature. but you have to know how to do it anyway. So that's the communication part of my work, right? Like, how do you negotiate all that stuff respectfully so that instead of this happening, we keep going this all the time?
I think this very important part is negotiation and understanding the reason why the person is doing that, but at
Yep.
the same time voicing your own needs
Respectfully.
respectfully, so another person understands as well, and we
Yep.
find middle ground,
That's
right?
it. And like I said, in that, when you approach the other respectfully, instead of waving your finger in their face, if you wave your finger in their face or you yell, right? Men and women don't respond to threats, to yelling, to what's the other word? To nagging. Like that does not. Nobody responds to that, right? So you can't do any of that because you're frustrated. You're going to pull them away, right? And if you wave your finger in somebody's face, they have to defend themselves. Right, so they push back, and now he's a jerk. See, I can't talk to him. I'm trying to. That's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. But we kind of tend to do that. We react. We take it personally. We'll react. Right. We point the finger. You put your foot down, or you have a fight, and it makes it worse. As opposed to, when you do this, it made me feel like this. I'm not sure I understand. Please let me understand.
Mhm.
What do you mean? Well, you did this. When you said this, that's what happened to me. It made me feel like this. It was hurtful. Please help me understand. I'm telling you, approach when you know how to do this respectfully, right? And I can say energetically neutral. You'll find out, like, because, and again, both on both sides. But when we get frustrated, we bark. When we bark, it goes to hell. Right.
Yeah.
So the idea that men, and I hate this, people say, like, relationships are compromised. You have to compromise a relationship. I'm like, no. I don't want to compromise anything. Relationships are about negotiation. I don't like this. How about this way? This is too much. I'm uncomfortable with this. Please don't talk to me that way. It makes me feel like, and again, just finding the resolution respectfully. And that way, the person who loves you as your best interest wants to provide that, because you approach them respectfully as opposed to waving your finger in their face. But you have to be calm. Like I said, something happens, take a little walk, come back calm, and go, when that happened, again, same thing, right? When you said this, what? Well, when you said this, made me feel like this, and I think you're saying that. So you'll find out typically that the person, what you assume is wrong, especially with men, ladies, like 95% of everything you think he's doing and why he's doing it, and that you think personally hurts your feeling, is wrong. And if you go find out respectfully, you'll find out two things. He'll go, that's not what I was doing. That's not what I was thinking. That's not what I meant. Right. You took it the wrong way because you assume. We all do it. Right. And often we hurt your feelings because we forgot something. We said we would, we didn't. Right. We didn't notice your hair. We like whatever, something that just meant something to you that we missed. Right. Because we're not focused on the same things that you are. So what's obvious to you is not obvious to us. So sometimes we'll hurt your feelings just not knowing. So we'll be aloof. Sometimes we're so much in our heads, we're aloof, right? We don't see things, we don't hear things, we don't notice things, like all of that. So that'll hurt your feelings because you're the opposite. You see everything, you hear everything, you notice everything. And you think that we don't. So my point is, when you bring it up respectfully, when this, that, you'll get either that's not what I meant, that's not what I said, that's not, this is why. So you get an explanation or an apology. Because we screw up all the time because we are kind of all over the place in our head. So that I didn't mean to do this. I'm sorry, I forgot. But you get an apology or an explanation. And then guess what? It's done. There's no damage. There's no residual. We didn't break apart. We actually got a little more tighter. That's not that hard. You see what I'm saying? It is so not that hard.
Yeah, this
Please.
magic is simple, but again, like it just requires our awareness of how to approach things and what to do. But everything is manageable, and negotiations is the key
Absolutely.
to keep being in the healthy relationship and maintaining it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we met today.
Thank
You
you.
for
You too.
sharing your
Absolutely. I have
English.
I have a gift for you listeners if you want.
Course.
Okay, so I do a lot of podcasting because again, my business is great. Like I said, I'm in Los Angeles. Like, there's no need of people needing this help, right? And like I said, anyway, but my God calling, I have a God calling. God's over there in the corner for me. I don't know why he's up there. So my God calling that I used to resent is I'm like you, and thank you for having me here because my God calling is to actually bring hope and understanding to the masses, to change the belief that's out there that men are toxic and dangerous. No, that the relationships are terribly difficult and, go girl is better. No, like this, nature wants us pair bonded. So my God mission is to bring hope to the masses and to understand there is a way, there is hope, right? This is fixable, this is doable, it's not hopeless. And to really bring men and women together again, and men, women, I don't care. It's about to bring healthy relationships back to create a healthy culture. So I do a lot of podcasting to send out this message. Right? Come on, you guys, it's for real. Like, not knowing doesn't mean that it's impossible. You just don't know. They don't teach you. Anyway, so thank you for helping me spread the word, part of my God mission. So, and in doing a lot of podcasting, I noticed there was two types of listeners. So I have two gifts for you listeners, depending on how they see themselves. First, people who listen to podcasts typically are looking for information. They're curious. They want some information, right? Mm-hmm. They're poking around in the world of relationship. They listen to podcasts. They read books, right? So if somebody listening, it kind of resonated with me and are looking for information, I have my gift here is it's called the 5 feminine qualities high value men find absolutely irresistible. 30 pages. It's a workbook. I sell it on my website. If you listeners who want information, by the way, this is me interviewing men, and it's what men are saying, what they value in women. It's not me, it's them. Right? 5 things they find irresistible. Right? If you want information, this is good stuff. So all you have to do is go directly to my email. My email is Andre coaching @gmail.com. Andre coaching 1@gmail.com. And in a box for subject, just write irresistible book, and I will send you a copy for free. Gift number 1. Gift number 1. Gift number 2, the other listeners typically want action. Like they want to do something. They want to learn. They want to step in. So if anything that I said resonated with you and you're curious, right? Andre Coaching 1@gmail, my direct email, and in the subject box, write talk now. And what I'll do is I'll send you a link to my calendar where you could book an hour to talk to me, just like you and I right now. Like if you want to step in a little bit and find out, why you're stuck, where you're stuck, what's not working, I'll give you an hour of my time and we'll dig into your past. I go right 10 minutes. I could decode what happened to you as a child, which will explain there's nothing wrong with you. This is why you're like this. That call alone is liberating, right? Like to understand there's nothing wrong with you, because I hear this from women, especially all the time. Like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Right? I can't get a date. I can't get a second date. I get ghosted. I can't get a man to even ask me out. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. There's protection, right? You have yourself guarded. You don't feel safe. Go back to childhood. There it is. Bad daddy, no daddy, right? Abandonment issues, whatever. So the moment you get, like, seriously, understand there's nothing wrong with you. It's just your product of your past, right? Because when you understand, now that we know, it's fixable. And if it's fixable, right, then what's the dream? What's the future? What's the dream life that you want? Do you want marriage? Do you want kids? Do you want long-term relationship? Do you want just companionship? What do you want? And then I'll tell you what I do. There's different ways to get involved. If you want to get involved with me, there's no pressure. But so talk now. Audio Coaching 1, talk now. I'll send you a link and we'll have an hour conversation. And for some people, just that call alone, whether we work together or not, is life-changing because they cannot understand there's nothing wrong with them. That's liberating. So there.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
what
you
I'm
so
offering.
much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
also gonna share in the show notes as well, so people can reach out and see what will bring them the most value.
Yeah. And you can go on my website. I think you'll have all those links, projectequinox.net. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I have shorts, Instagram, all of it. So look under Project Equinox and or under my Andre Paradis. But you have all the links. So if you post them along, and you and I would cross-pollinate.
Yes, and thank you so much. It was a great conversation.
Thank you. Absolutely. Very, very, very fun. You
And
know,
enjoy your day.
thank you. You too.
I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, hit the subscribe button and share it with others. Stay tuned!